Hello everyone, welcome you all to the second video tutorial of XML manipulation video series. In this video we are going to show you how we can use XML navigation expressions to traverse to an XML content and extract a specific XML element and its attributes. In this video tutorial we are going to reuse the XML service that we used in the previous video, and we are going to expand the new Ballerina service that we developed in the previous video tutorial. So we are going to introduce a new resource function to that service. So this service will give us the list of customers in the XML payload as a JSON output. So let's go to the VS Code and let's add the new resource function to the service. So this is the service that we developed in the first video tutorial. Now I am going to add the new resource function, and this is going to be also a get accessor, and the path is going to be customers. So what this method is going to do is consume the XML service and get the XML payload, and then extract the customer element from that payload and convert that into a JSON array. So this is probably going to be returning customers, and if something goes wrong it will return an error. So let's first call the HTTP client and get the XML content. Okay, so let me first show you guys the response from the backend service. So the backend service is our XML service. So here you can see customer is inside the order element, and this order element is inside the orders element, and we have an XML namespace for this XML payload. So we have to use a namespace when we are traversing through this XML. So let me first define an XML namespace here. So you can see I have imported an XML namespace. Now I will need this when I am navigating through XML content. So since we have multiple elements of order, we will have multiple set of customer also. So it will probably be the best idea to traverse through them using a query expressions. So let me write a query expression to traverse through these orders. So this is how you write an XML navigation expressions to go to the order element. So I have the order details, and I am going to the order element, and inside the order element I have the customer element, and from each of these customer so each of the output that we get from evaluating this XML navigation expressions will be assigned to this variable, and from there we can select the name and the email of that customer. and I'm going to create a record out of that values. So I'm going to create a record literal here, and it should match with the customer, and I'm going to create the name field, and the customer has to be like this. So I had to wrap it with parentheses because at the moment Ballerina is not supporting directly calling the functions on navigation expressions. And then I will extract the email dot data, and I'm going to return it. Okay, now let me explain what I have written here. So I am calling the HTTP client to get the XML payload, and I am assigning that to the order details variable. Then I am writing an XML navigation expressions to go to the customer element in this XML payload. So this is how I write XML navigation expressions. Here we put the XML variable, and then you put slash, and then you put this element name. So I have not mentioned this orders element because this will find all the child elements in the immediate element of this XML variable, and inside that I am going to search for the customer, and I have that also mentioned here. And while iterating each of these customers, I am going to select its name and the email, and I am going to create a record out of that, and I am going to return that. Since this is a query expressions, it will create an array of these records, and it will be assigned to customer array. So let's run this service and see whether we are getting the required response. Okay, now the service is running. Let's send the request. Okay, now we are not getting any response. So something has not been done properly. Okay, we have defined this XML namespace, but I have not used in my XML navigation expressions. So we need to use it to properly work these XML navigation expressions. So ns, so what's the, okay, ns. And here also you have to use ns, sorry, ns here. And this data function will access the value associated with this element. And if you want to access an attribute associated with this element, what you have to do is, instead of calling data, you can enter dot and the attribute name. So for now I will use a data function to access the value of that element. Now let me run it again. Okay, now it's running, and let me invoke the service. Still I'm not getting any response. Okay, I'm getting the response. So as you can see, we have extracted out all the customers who made an order with that shop, and we are getting the name and the email as a JSON array. So we have achieved what we want to do in this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed this session. See you guys in the next tutorial.